Now, here's a game that was an enjoyable Pac-Man clone back in the late 90s, 1998 to be exact. And come to find out, I can't believe that this game is still actively on the internet. The only problem is it's hidden. You can't find the link anywhere other than maybe doing a Google search or something for it. And unfortunately, this game will not and does not run on any modern Windows machine unless you're using some type of emulated, way back machine, or you're using like an emulated system, or you just have an old ass computer laying around that has a really old version of Windows Internet Explorer on it. It has, because of the Java patches and because of the hot fixes that they've put and security patches, you can't get this Flash game or Java game to even run in any modern Windows game. And I find this to be a coming trend, that there's a lot of quirky Flash games out there that are literally falling into obscurity. Like, you can't play them anymore unless a publisher updates them with some type of way to play them on a modern internet browser. These games are just going to disappear. I'm surprised this one is still actively on the internet. I mean, it's probably, I think it's only a 300 kilobyte file of Java that it downloads into your machine, and just real time, and you just play it. I mean, obviously you can see this is a clearly a Pac-Man clone, but it's a South Park one, and I can't find any other clones anywhere else. Now, I was able to find the actual Java file itself that the information is stored on, but I'm no computer programmer. I mean, I know a lot about computers as far as a tech-wise where to go. Programming has never been one of my strong suits, and especially working with an old-ass Java program, I couldn't figure it out. I have the file, I just can't figure out how to get it to work on a modern Windows machine. Not even Windows machine, just a modern browser in general. I mean, the machine I was actually recording this off of was a machine I just kind of slapped together. It was a Windows ME machine, out of all things. Long story short, I seen the ME disk laying around. I wanted to throw back to my first computer, which was Windows ME. I had a Windows 98 computer hanging around as well, but the Windows 98 computer did not want to work with my wireless internet device that I had for it. It's not to say that I couldn't get it to work. It was actual Windows 98, not second edition, and whatever reason the drivers didn't want to work. Long story short, I got it to work onto this, and for whatever reason, even if you download the Java file, when you go to actually play the game, again, this is where my programming just is blown out the window. I can't get it to run. I can get the web page and everything else to pull up that's saved to the actual computer, but the actual file itself for it to load just won't load no matter what I've done, where I've put it. It just won't load at all. But, and long behold, if you hook an old-ass browser that I'm using, an Internet Explorer, I don't know what version, that came with Windows ME, and it loaded. Funny enough, though, this computer also came with a Netscape communicator, or Netscape communicator. Before it was called Netscape Navigator. So I mean, but Netscape will not run this. It redirects me to the actual South Park page saying there's something wrong. So it only works in like Internet Explorer. Now, this will work in like a Windows XP machine. As to the reason why I didn't record that off of there, just thinking about it, I don't know why I didn't. I probably should have. But it was just hooked up. But if you have a Windows XP machine with an old-ass version of like Windows Internet Explorer, this game I believe will run. You might get an error saying that you're like gonna get a fuck ton of viruses due to the Java exploits that this thing had at the time. But I mean, aside from that, this game should run fairly well. Like I said, it's a browser game, but it just kind of, as I was messing around with it the other day, I was just sitting there thinking of all the internet games I used to play back in the late 90s, early 2000s, that either don't exist anymore or they've updated them and they're not the same. There used to be a site, there still is a site called Joe Cartoon or some shit, and a lot of that same stuff from original back in the day is still on there, and whoever runs that site seems to have updated some of the things to actually have it run on there. I mean, some things don't work the exact same way, but some things do. Like, they've updated it so that it will run. I'm not a programmer. I can't get this fucking thing to update on a modern Windows machine. And there's just a few other quirky sites and games that I used to play that they're still there, but they don't run the exact same way, or they've changed them, or they've taken things out so that the game actually works. And I just think it's just a part of the internet that's just going away. And even using a Wayback Machine, I'm not sure that you could use Wayback Machine on this. I can imagine you can it to some certain extent, but again, it would come down to, even if you know, because this is still available on the internet today. Like, if you type it in, the actual internet address, or you just type it in Google search, I don't know what it is. I think it's like southparkstudios.cc/game/Cartman. And this game you can pull it up on your internet browser, but it's going to ask you to run a Flash thing. You hit run that, and it's not going to have the right Java code, because Java and Flash, whatever it use those two together to make this game run. And it only seems to work on, like I said, hardware that's from XP back. And it's not necessarily hardware, it's just the browser, more or less. And because everything else is so security tight, it makes it damn near impossible to run this game. I think I've droned on long enough. All right, just wanted to give a quick shout out to this game. If you can play it, it's just fun, quirky little South Park game. If you can't, well, here's what the game looked like back in 1998.